Today, we're going to talk about a very exciting topic, the B2B buyer journey and why the era of website browsing is over. And today, our speakers are myself, Robert Held. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Custom Media, AIM B2B. AIM B2B is our B2B PR and marketing agency. We specialize in helping global B2B brands enter and expand in the Japan and the wider APAC markets. We cover everything from lead gen campaigns right up to content creation and account-based marketing. Together with me on the webinar is our good partner, Halal from Trend Demon. I'll give it to Halal to introduce himself.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you very much for inviting me to join you today. Hi, everyone. I'm Alel Porat. I'm acting as COO at Trendyman. Um, Over 15 years of experience in B2B marketing, um, um, working a lot around the impact of websites and how they really should perform and how they really should optimize themselves as part of the B2B teams go to market. At Trendyman is a B2B personalization platform dedicated for businesses that they use the website as part of their top of funnel. They bring in traffic to the website. And what we do, we have the ability to, first of all, of course, identify everyone that is coming and then personalize the website accordingly by using your assets. We know what to show to who, depending on their funnel and stage, where they are, in order to increase the engagement and conversion with them. Um, there's a huge change in the past year and two, as everybody knows. AI did not skip MarTech, right? And so exciting things are happening, and it's very important that all of us as marketeers uh, will know how to act, what's going on. So I think we summarized one of the topics around that today. So yeah, let's take it.
Excellent. Thank you, Halal. Really good to have you on the webinar with me. So our agenda today, the four core things that we're going to cover is first, what's happening in the B2B buyer journeys and why should we pay attention? Why does this matter? And when we outline that, we'll also give you some strategies on how to succeed in your B2B marketing engagement, with finally some key takeaways that will help you to implement some of our findings and some of our suggestions in your B2B marketing and sales funnels. So what is really happening with B2B buyer journeys? And as Halal pointed out at the start, things are changing at a very rapid pace. The buyer journey is changing at a pace that we can't keep up with. And these are from reports from leading industry marketing analysts and business partners. And what we are seeing is the buying journey is shortened to 11 months. This was conducted by Sixth Sense. They conducted a study of 4,000 B2B buyers, and it was a global study. And from that, they've seen that buying groups are engaging with sellers 6 to 7 weeks earlier because they're able to get a lot of information quicker, get access to information quicker, and they're learning about yourselves and your competition in the markets quicker. 85% of buyers set most of their requirements prior to their first contact with you. So they're very well informed and they are coming to your website and contacting you in a very mature time of the journey. 81% of the buyers are actually initiating contact with sellers. It used to be sales teams go out and knock on clients and look for potential clients, but nowadays what we're seeing is sellers are proactively being contacted by your buyers. And what we also know is that 4 out of 5 of the vendors that they evaluate on day one are going to be on what we call the shortlist. What does this all mean is basically buyers are arriving on your website. By the time they get there, key decisions are already being formed in their mind. They already have, their priority list. They already have their top choice So you want to make sure that you are A, in that priority list, and B, you are on the top choice. These buyers are creating what we call shortlist, silent shortlist, and they're doing this much before, than they used to. And this is because they have access to information today that they're able to do a lot of this research in what we call the dark funnel. And because of their ability to get a lot of information, they're able to select their preferred vendor earlier on in the choice. And 89% of buyers are using generative AI or self-guided information to do research about yourself, your business, your competitors, and basic industry trends. And 8 in 10 of these buyers say that they're using AI, and AI has changed the way they conduct research. So, bottom line is AI is being heavily used by buyers out there to build shortlists of their preferred vendors, their preferred business partners, much before they come to your website, much before they make contact with you. And what this means is the buying phases are changed now. It's the buying journey is changed to two core phases, the selection phase and then the validation phase. So the selection phase is the most important phase where you need to make sure that you are in the selection phase and you are being shortlisted. Because if they do not find you and your website, your content, your product, your information is not showing up, you're going to be ignored from the top 4 or 5 shortlist phase. So when they come to the validation phase, you're not going to be a part of that validation phase. Therefore, marketing, we are seeing, needs to enter much earlier in helping to educate and inform potential buyers. And what are you seeing, Halal, in terms of the buying phases?
First of all, I completely agree with everything you just said. I'm seeing dozens of marketing teams, and this is exactly what's happening. I will add to that it's interesting because we see that more traffic has been drifted from SEO to GEO. Like, for example, if you had 100,000 visitors from SEO in the past year in 25, it's now 70,000, and because the rest is coming in, that's pretty much 20-30% already traffic has changed from geo. So that's one. Another interesting point, is that conversion rates are higher because what you said, because people are becoming more educated. Those
Mhm.
who want to talk with you, they're good to talk with you. So conversion rates in some point are higher, traffic is lower in some cases, um, but it's not a bad thing. It's okay. We just need to understand it to know how to adapt to the situation, right? But yeah, so we're definitely seeing all of this. It's super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very much right. So it's the quality of traffic that's visiting your website, and we'll talk a little bit more about it and why it's important to improve the engagement because buyers
Yeah.
are once they've visited your website, they're pretty much ready to do business with you. So then, how do you make sure that you keep them engaged and you give them the answers they need, right? And you brought up GEO, generative engine optimization, SEO, search engine optimization is still valid and important. Last year, we did a whole webinar about GEO and how to, get your website, content and the website ready to be found on LLMs, generative engine optimization. And we encourage you to go and check out our website. There's a webinar recording for that. In case you missed that webinar, please check that one out. Um, yeah, so basically AI is reshaping, the buyer behavior. And 94% used LLMs during the search phase because LLMs, they are really helpful in doing comparisons. They're really helpful in doing deep research on the services out there, doing competitor comparisons, and answering questions that your typical buyers have. 58% of the buyers, researched say that they are engaging sellers earlier to clarify whether they have AI features. And we're seeing this a lot more as well. Products that do include AI features. So it's not just, them finding you via AI. They also want to make sure that your product and your service offering is already including AI benefits and features. And if not, then that's something to keep in mind. And buyers are expecting AI features. you know 72% are mandated to strongly include AI features in their product and service offerings. Meanwhile, as Halal pointed out, the search traffic is changing. 60% of Google searches don't end with a click, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because when you do have a click, you have an engaged visitor. And AI engines are used to scrape thousands of pages for referring and getting the right information. So what all of this means is optimization should move from, traffic, getting traffic to your website. That was the golden era of SEO marketing. How do you do everything it takes to get your keywords listed so that you bring people to your website? It's changing to answering answer visibility. Are your website content and information being shared and easily found on AI engines? And why this matters, I'm going to hand this over to Halal to talk us through why this matters and how we can help. I'm going to stop sharing here, Halal, so you can share your screen.
Thank you. Just one second. I just need you to approve. There we go. All right. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rob. So let's take everything that we discussed until now, zoom in a little bit when it comes to your website, when it comes to when you're presenting your product, and want to talk a little bit about that and discuss, I think, especially about your assets, about your content, and their role today. Okay. So the buyer journey has gone agentic, and that means is that what we expect to see, and we're already seeing that, is website will turn from what we call static to agentic websites. We'll talk a little bit about that. On average, we've seen over 10, 12, or 14 pages on the website that was browsed before converting any to meaningful business goal like top of funnel MQL. And I'm not even talking about closed deals. And this is changing exactly because that silent shortlist, that term is definitely the silent journey. In other words, the journey is not starting at the website; it's starting earlier. Um, um, and uh, and today buyers can know not everything, but pretty much enough about what you guys do to make some initial decisions if to continue the process. And when they do arrive to the website, they're more at the late stage arrival, what we call. And then they're in the consideration stage. And we, as marketeers, we as sellers, we need to help them. We need to help them with a decision process, right? Um, the attention that they have once they land on your website is low. They want to get answers. They want to know if this is a good product for us, and not necessarily they're yet ready to speak to sales yet, but they want to get answers. And the reason I'm talking about agentic websites is that your website needs to be able to provide these answers by demand. Okay, websites now, we call it static websites. You have great websites, tons of content, blogs, resources centers, use cases, case studies, articles, webinars, fantastic. It's tough for buyers to browse. They don't have the attention for that. But your content is super important. we need to find the right way to access your assets, right? To the visitors that come in order to provide them the right answers. So I think that's where things are going. We're already seeing that. And context is the key of answers. Um, um, and the problem is today we have a lot of chatbots. Chatbots are very good, but at the end of the day, their main purpose is to move you to move the buyer to sales. In some cases, even as soon as possible. I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do. I'm just saying that it doesn't provide the answer for the buyer the best way that he needs and wants to get all the content. So content is important, and the context is important because we want to provide the right answers to the right people. So you need the ability to identify accounts, personas, when they land on your website, their journey stage. Are they here the first time? What pages are they visiting? All of that will help you to understand how to deal with them and how to help them in the decision-making process. Okay? Um, um, you can so all of that is very, very, very important. About your answer posture. By analyzing what buyers ask and how your content answers, we highlight all the gaps in your content strategy to help you and optimize them. Also for LLM. So once you're gonna have the ability to provide answers to questions, you can know how well your content is and you can optimize your content. So when people also will ask you outside of the website, the answers will be more accurate. And all of that is very, very important. Um, answer engine on the website is one of the things that we highly recommend to do if it's a Trendyman or any other solution. It doesn't matter, but it's very, very important to provide them that kind of a Q&A on the website. What basically it does is, and I'm going to show you a demo in a few minutes of what I mean, but what is the first step into a agentic website is basically we take all of your content and we turn it out like into the brain, like into the database, everything, including PDFs, everything. And then when someone asks a question on the website, we know to identify him and we know to provide him with the right answer, right? So adopt agentic capabilities because these are very, very important to provide answers. Once Another reason to do that is, of course, to close the content gaps. Discover exactly where your content is failing to answer buyers' questions before your competitors do. This is super important. Again, in the new era that we are, content is not less relevant. Everybody told us that content is super relevant for SEO, right, Rob? It was always about that. We
Yeah.
need a lot of content for search engine optimization, and you still need that. But you don't need less content. We just use it differently. We use it for geo. Content is very important, but people will not browse and look for it. We want them when they reach your website. We want them to have the ability to ask questions on the website, and we will recommend them what to do and where to go depending on their question. So I'm talking about now different kinds of benefits to have this. Okay. So to close the content gap, it's super important. Feed your sales team. Once you're gonna have this, you will also be able to tell your sales team who is asking what and what answers did they get and where they are. So it's another signal that you can use. Okay, and of course about boost SEO and geo, um, 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 improve your content. What happens is on geo systems, ChatGPT, all of those, they're um, they're getting assets from your website, but not all of it. But if you're going to improve your content on your website, it's going to impact. Okay, the answer is on geo as well. So that's the reason that all of this is very important. How about we take a look of what I mean? So this is a B2B website, and this is their podcast area on their website. Okay, they have many pages, and what we're seeing here, if you can all see this embedded unit over here, this is an agentic step that you can take on the website. Is what you're seeing here. Number one, all the website is scanned in terms of LLM. Two, it's the ability to summarize pages for your visitor. Remember about attention. They have less attention to read everything. So we can summarize the page of what they're engaging. And of course, they have a Q&A to ask any questions and to get any answer. There's a lot of UIs you can use if it's embedded, if it's some kind of overlay, whatever works for your website. But the idea is that once I'm going to ask a question, for example, tell me about A, B2B, a few things will happen in the back end, also in the front end. The first thing is the visitor is going to get an answer. The second thing is they're going to get recommendations of what else to read. The third thing is the team at AIM B2B will know which company asked the question. So the sales team, as we just talked about, they're going to get another signal of who asked and what did they ask. And the fourth thing, this will optimize what's going on in GEO because GEO will scan the answer. And from here, it will know how to provide this answer also outside your website if someone will ask it. This is an example of what we call agentic website, the beginning of how we see um, um, everything agentic on the website. It's very, very important about that, right? Um, Strategies for success. Rob, I'm passing this back to you.
Sure. Thank you. Just go back one slide.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Halal. Yeah, and I think just to add, thanks for sharing that demo as well. The key is all the content that you saw in that window was the content from the AIM B2B side. So there's no way for it to get content from our external sources. So you're keeping the information within your own database of content. That's very important because we all know there's still potential for AI to hallucinate and whatnot, but at least you're limiting a lot of that because 100% of the content in your answer engine comes from within your website. So that's really a good way to foolproof. And as you pointed out, Halal, it's good for us now. We can see not only who's visiting our website, we can see who's engaging with what content, what questions are they asking. So then we can go prepared to answer those questions in our engagements, in our face-to-face meetings and engagements. So yeah, so what do B2B marketers need today to win, in this, ever evolving, fast-paced buying journey is number one, marketers need to win the selection phase. You need to be seen in the selection phase, making sure your content has rich content that is being found on LLMs, on GEO and SEO, and have a really good content hub. Number two, you got to deliver context-aware, you know, tailored information, tailored data, tailored content that helps different buyers in different buying stages. Number three, we got to identify and fix any issues, any content gaps. So by us being able to see what questions are asked, and if that particular question did not surface an answer, we know that we need to fix that content gap because somebody that wants to do business with us is asking us for information that's not available at the moment on our website. So we can fix it. And then number three, capturing those real buyer questions, like I just explained, then we can help to convert them into sales opportunities. So these are things that we feel APAC and Japan marketers must do right now.
I definitely agree about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you talked about content earlier, Halal. I wanted to point out that we are moving from, a content, how much content are we producing phase, which is very important. We still need to produce a lot of content, to are we giving buyers the right answers early enough to win the selection phase? Because if we don't win the selection phase, they're not going to contact us in their validation phase. So our content is missing from their LLM searches. We're not going to be seen in that, hidden journey, hidden phase in those dark
Hmm.
funnels. And we're going to lose the selection phase battle. So as we saw, 4 out of 5, of the shortlisted vendors are already being considered as a top choice for the buyer. So if you're not in that 4 out of 5, then you're going to lose the opportunity to even be considered in the buying journey.
Right, yeah. And a few more takeaways from what we discussed here today, I think summarizes this presentation is first of all about again structuring your content for machines. Again, in the past we organized it for SEO. We need to organize it in the same way so AI systems can easily understand it. Exactly for what the reason that Rob said, it's 100% right. We're seeing it all the time. This is not it's a suggestion, of course, but this is what's happening. We highly recommend to take a look at that. Build a strong centralized knowledge layer. Agentic experiences rely on high quality data. Okay. So everything about consolidate your product information, documentation, help center, everything. If it's on the website or not, we can read it. We can take that as what we call to create a brain out of it, right? The database. So we can pull by demand and we can take the right answers from there. Enable AI-powered interaction points, as we just showed with the Q&A. There's a lot of techniques out there. Again, if it's with Q&A, if it's with other ways, start to think about your website, how it turns to be agentic, how it can serve visitors to help them. We want your buyers to have a fast and quick way for the decision process. So introduce, if it's conversational interfaces, right? AI assistants, guide searches. This is where things are going. I won't be surprised if a year from now, websites is just going to be on the hero bar on the homepage, a big search bar, and you can just maybe even a buyer can build for himself his own website from your content, so it'll be easy for him to understand, like an infographic. I think that's where things are going at the end of the day. So think about that. Start to think about that as part of your GTM, top of funnel. Again, we're talking about the website part at the moment. And something I always say when I always talk about when introducing new products or strategies is measure intent and outcomes, not just the clicks. Measure questions, see if they're asking the right questions, then it means that you're telling about your product correctly. You're
Mm,
gonna see it. You're gonna see it fast. Even if you're not going to go live on the website with a Q&A, you can test it in the back end and see what answers would look like. So then you'll know if your content is right. Do you need to add more content? Do you need to fix the content that you have? Where are you falling in that part? This is very, very important. What Rob mentioned about the short list, everything that's happening before, that's because of that. Okay. So these are all, I think, 4 takeaways I recommend any marketeer to take a look at wherever you are, and those that the website is a part of your GTM, especially for top of funnel, for sure. These are things that I would look out. right? All right. If there are any questions, we would love to answer.
Thank you, Halel and Robert. I will begin with the questions we have already received. If you would like to submit a question, please click in the Q&A button in Zoom and add it there. Depending on whether you are using the app or the browser version, you can find the Q&A button on the dashboard or under the More menu. Let's start with the first question. How does the engine know which page or piece of content to pull from on the website?
So the way it works is that the way that we do it, we scan all the websites in terms of LLM. Okay? Every page, we don't just scan the URL and the images, we scan completely all of the content. Okay? If the visitor is asking a question on a specific page, it doesn't mean necessarily that we'll just answer and take content from that page. We can take content from other pages. And exactly like what ChatGPT is doing and Claude and all the other solutions, we create an answer from all the content together, depending on the question of the visitor. We're using in the backend OpenAI API and other API engines to have that ability to do that.
Great, thank you. The next question is, what system is AIM B2B using for those on-page AI Q&A boxes?
Thank you. I can answer that. So we are using Trend Signal, the system that Halal just talked about, to analyze and provide answers. We also use we are a HubSpot certified partner. We also use HubSpot's chatbot system, and that is more to engage with buyers when they want to send us specific information on what they're looking for and or book meetings with our business development team by themselves. So again, it's more about self-serving our buyers. We have a very global audience of clients, so we want to be available 24 hours to respond to them. So that's the system we are using.
Great, thank you. Another question. How do we balance the trade-off between what Google needs and what AI search needs?
It's SEO, it's two different tasks. It's not that we're saying, it's not what I'm saying that we need to just invest to optimize for geo. You need to do both of them. What I'm seeing is when you optimize for geo, it helps almost in the same way for search engine optimizations at the end of the day. So it's not that, all right, I need to focus my SEO team to take care more of geo. I need to let go of SEO. It's not what I'm saying, and it's not different tasks. If you're going to optimize, it's pretty much for both of them together. Okay, whenever you're going to do for geo, it's going to help also for SEO anyway, because also the search engine optimization is leaning to analyze content in the same way.
Okay, I have another question for you, Halal. In that case study, using the AI in podcast that you shared before, where are the answers stored for when people ask questions in the question box?
Where are the answers going?
Yes.
So on the Trendyman platform where you created this unit, it's like we have a dashboard, and over there you can have a report of all the questions, who asked the question in the company level, what answers did they get, and where and how does their journey look like. Okay, so we can really show a journey of a visitor, all the pages they visited, how did they reach the website, who is the company, and in which page did they ask the question? What was the question that they asked? So we have like full reports for that.
Great, thank you. This question, how do AI systems like ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity decide which content to trust and cite?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure I have the answers for that. But the way that they work is they scan the website, not all of it, some parts of it. I think they have their own algorithm of the scanning product pages and things like that. I know that they don't have the ability to scan all of the blog pages and case studies. So first of all, there's one thing. It's about the quantity of how many pages and what LLM systems are scanning. How do they know to choose exactly the quality? I think it's they know by the amount of visitors that visit like pages. That's why correcting your content on the website is very important because Geo will pick that up because he'll see that this is something that people are visiting more, something like that. But I don't know the exact algorithm or how they're choosing that.
Okay, and how often do users engage the chatbot on your website, Robert? This is a question for you.
Thank you. Yes. We are seeing on average 10, 12 engagements, and these are requests that users respond to on the chatbot on our website. And there are, of course, a lot of abandoned chats where people are testing to see how it works. So they click on the chatbot, which pops up and starts the engagement, and you get an option of do you have a question or are you just browsing? So when someone's just browsing, they would just click just browsing, which means we don't get a request from that chatbot. But because they are browsing, we want to now improve their browsing journey by providing answers. And with the help of Trend Signal, we are now able to improve their browsing experience with us.
Great. I have another question for you, Robert. From B2B's experience in Japan, what are the most effective ways for a specific B2B solution provider to get into the customer initial shortlist? Ideally, the top 5 to 10 solutions during the awareness and early interest stage before the formal evaluation process begins.
Yeah, so this is a really good question. And from our experience, what we're seeing is to be able to win that selection phase, you need to provide information, content, and answers on your websites. And we are moving from a phase of gated content to ungated content. What this means is typically, marketers used to put thought leadership content, reports, and the like behind a gated, wall, which would mean the user would need to submit information, their contact details, in order to access that content. So the trend now is to remove that content from these walls and break down those walls and provide that content ungated. If you have your entire 30, 40, 50 page thought leadership piece in a PDF, make that available to all users. Make that available to Chat, GPT, and Gemini, and Perplexity, and the like, to find that information, because that thought leadership is what your buyers are looking for. If you serve that to them upfront, then they come to your website more informed and more mature. They are doing half of the salesperson's job for you because now they know what they want. And when they reach your website, you have a more higher engagement rates with them, which means the conversion is, higher as well. So yes, providing information through all channels. We do webinars like this, we do podcasts, we do thought leadership piece, we do blogs, providing a lot of information for what our buyers are looking for when they are selecting a B2B PR or marketing agency in the region. So that's what we would recommend for any B2B solution provider to make sure that you are shortlisted in their buying list.
Thank you, Robert. I need a clarification, Halel, about a question you already answered. The question was about in the case study using the AIM podcast, where are the answers stored for when people ask questions in the question box? And the question, it was more about the storage of the data.
The storage of the data, it's all on Trendyman platform. Okay, Trendyman is a platform that provides, we're tracking the website, but it has a backend and it has a database where everything is stored. Everything, of course, with privacy, GDPR compliant, and everything that is needed with cookie consent. And once, also when it comes to the journey tracking, and also when it comes to when someone is asking a question, we save all the data on our end, and you have a dashboard like HubSpot dashboard or any other Martech dashboard where you can get all of these reports on it. Also, the creating that unit with your design, and also there's many things in it. It's a full personalization platform, but today we're discussing about just the Q&A, but everything is on there. Is that more clear, Iglesias?
Yes, it seems that it's more clear. Thank you. This question, how should we restructure our existing website to be AI readable?
That's very good. The best thing I would say is test your content. One thing also that we provide is that even before you go live with that unit in the dashboard, you can test and ask questions like you are a visitor and see if the answers are right. You need to validate your content. Okay? So I highly recommend to do that. Because, and if you're saying that you know the best if the answers are good. So validate it, test it, see if that it's working, and by that, one, correct content that is not, and then two, you can go live with that, and then three, you'll know that when people are asking the same kind of questions outside your website, they should get the same kind of answers.
Thank you. I have another question for you, Halel. Based on your experience, what have customers found most useful about the agentic answer engine so far?
The validation part, what I just talked about, to help them understand if their content is AI ready. And that's very, very important. So, okay, I think that's it's a very good first step to take when we want to make sure that we're moving from static to agentic. So yeah, that, and of course the unit itself, that is just helping a lot and providing again the sales, the signals, and providing the visitors and the buyers what they need and the step that they are at.
Great. How quickly can the agent start giving useful answers after the setup?
Very good question. A few days. It depends on the volume of your website, right? How the traffic that you have and how they are engaging. From that, we know about your content. From that, we know everything. Yeah, typically 2-3 days. It's enough. Okay.
Thank you. Does the engine improve over time as more people ask questions?
Yes, of course, of course. It's not that you can have a question and always will be the same answer. It changes, it adapts. Again, there's more capabilities in here. You can create your own questions in the backend and the answers, so it will provide the answers that you want for specific questions, what we call guided questions, but it adapts all the time. That's what's fun about it. Yeah.
Thank you. Um, Does the ranking on the page of AI search results matter?
For us, no. I care about the engagement that we see on the pages and the questions. We're not looking at SEO ranking outside or something like that. But we rank the pages to see what's working.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, I think it's also important that if you're thinking about does your website rank on an LLM search page in ChatGPT, for example, it's important to make sure that the information that ChatGPT surfaces up is accurate, because often we are seeing, search engines provide information about, your service could be wrong. So you want to make sure that it's correct and factual information. And you can do that by fixing your website and making sure you're providing that information. Because if your website doesn't have the information, the LLM might make up its own answer and link it back to or list your website in among that service that it's sharing. And it's more important that it's factual than actually the ranking.
I
Great.
agree. Yeah.
And we have a lot of engagement, many people asking questions.
So
Great.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. How can we benchmark our current AEO maturity as is state so we can establish a baseline and objectively measure improvement over time? Are there tools or frameworks you recommend that provide meaningful scorecards or maturity assessments?
Um, I think that there are some tools out there. First of all, it's a full segment of measuring. I think HubSpot has a few solutions for that. I don't want to do some name dropping because I'm not sure exactly on um, um, these kind of solutions of their names, but there are definitely solutions out there for ranking and to be like AI ready just for that. Okay.
Great, thank
Like,
you.
yeah. Okay.
How do people move from ChatGPT or AI tools to a website?
That's a very good question. So when someone engages on ChatGPT and he's starting to do his shortlist, at the end of the day, Chat will also provide URLs to the website. We see two things. One, we see we see more traffic from ChatGPT. They're clicking on links from your website from Chat. Chat is just an example. I'm talking about Gemini and all of the LLM platforms. Okay, so when they're doing the research, they're going to get links to the websites, and we see the clicks. We see them from Chat to your website. So that's how it's done.
Thank
Yeah, just to add to that, probably is, if your website is listed among the answers that ChatGPT or the others provide, it is often a source for the data with a snippet of the information. So a user, when they read the snippet, if they feel that snippet is answering the question they are asking, they would then click on that snippet to visit your website. And your website should capture, if you have Google Analytics or any analytics set up on your website, you should be able to capture the URL. Often it comes with an added URL parameter which says ChatGPT or Google AI overview or whatever. So then you know which source recommended that particular page to your website.
Thank you, Halel and Robert. That was the last question we received. Appreciation for everyone asking all the questions. Yes, please go ahead.
Well,
All
thank you.
right.
Thank you so much for joining. I hope you all found this webinar useful, and thanks for all the questions. A lot of really interesting, engaging questions. Thank you, Halal, for co-hosting with me and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. It's really great partnering with you and your team at Trend Demon, and we look forward to growing our partnership with you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you, Robert. Always a pleasure. And we'll be in touch. And yeah, if you have any questions, follow-up questions, reach out to Robert, myself, and have a great day.
Yes, thank you. We will send this PDF along with the recording of this webinar. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.